So anyway, some of the experiences I had is like I wouldn't say like as a prepubescent, you know, like 10, 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay? So I remember in primary school, when there were school holidays, my parents would usually send me and my brother to go live with my grandmother in the Wetsdorp.
Yeah.
Because there's not much to do in Bloemfontein. Grandma feeds us, and it's just it takes.
Grandma becomes grandma.
Grandma gets to see her grandkids for a long time, and it also gives my mom and my dad like a time for themselves.
Yeah.
Away from the kids.
Yeah.
And so when we went to my grandmother, we went there most every school holiday. And so one time we went there. There was a lot of weird stuff that was happening at that point. Right before we went, I remember we went to the second-hand bookshop at Checkers in the Checkers Centrum, and I got this really cool book about like oddities and mysteries of the world, stuff like Dracula and the Mothman, stuff like that. Really, really cool stuff, and the Amityville house and just random stuff. My grandmother has her room basically had a separate room attached to it, which was basically her sewing room where she does like she made clothes and stuff for herself to wear.
Yeah.
Very, very awesome. And there was also a freezer where she kept basically all the meat, all the cook sisters that she made, stuff like that, you know. And she had one of these old school sewing machines, those ones you work with your foot, that you have to like pedal up and down to start the machine, and it was very cool. And but she always told us to close the door as well, you know. And one day, I was exploring. I think me and my brother were exploring, and we went into the room, and the sewing machine just starts.
Fuck that.
And the thing is like, it's not an electronic sewing machine.
Yeah.
It can't just start.
Yeah.
You have to physically step on it vigorously to make it start. And that sewing machine starts going. It's just like chicka 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 chicka. I'm like, I'm out. Cheers. I'm out. And we ran and we just I can't even remember the rest of that day. We just left. But also that house. My grandfather actually built that house, I think. Long ago.
Yeah.
And so the house had mostly wooden floor.
Yeah.
So it creaks, and you can clearly hear when someone's walking.
Yeah.
So late at night, when you sleep, sometimes you hear the floorboards creaking, and there's a difference between the house settling and someone walking, because it's a thud, and then squeak, like you hear the floorboards
pressure,
creaking. Yeah. There's no mistaking the house settling for someone actually walking.
Yeah.
Which is very scary.
Yeah.
There was a point where I thought that my grandfather was still in the house after he died, because there's so many weird experiences that actually happened in that house. Even my grandmother said that something was in that house. The house was. But the weirdest part is my grandmother only said this after she moved to the old age home. After they sold the house, and other people started telling her. Her neighbor started telling her the lights are going on and off randomly in the house. And so my grandmother actually told my mom and my aunt, like, no, that stuff happens there. Stuff happened there long ago. Like, she can't explain it. But one thing my grandmother always told us is that she's not afraid of ghosts and spirits.
Yeah.
She's afraid of people.
Yeah.
So that kind of comforted us as kids.
Yeah.
And, so, also in the house, there was this sunroom. It's like a living room, but the whole room was basically just windows.
Okay.
So if you open the curtains in the morning, it was just light and warm and just great. But she always every night before we went to bed, she said, just make sure the door is closed. I don't know why.
Okay.
but we had to make sure the door was closed.
Okay.
I have no idea why.
That's freaky.
But my grandfather, he had a chair in the corner of the room, and I genuinely cannot remember what happened. I think I really repressed whatever happened. But I do remember something weird happening on that chair after my grandfather died. This is like maybe 5, 6, 7 years after my grandfather passed away.
Okay.
But something was happening on that chair.
Yeah.
And it could have been him. It could have been him sitting there. I can't remember exactly what happened. And the weirdest part is this was like 10, 12 years old me.
Yeah.
And I just can't remember what happened, but I remember something happened there on that chair. Maybe there was a light, maybe there was nothing. I genuinely repressed that memory for a reason, I think.
Yeah.
Very, very scary. But also, so right after my grandmother went to the retirement home in Daniel Scale, when me, my mother, and my dad went to the house to go pick up the final things, like just because she wasn't using it anymore, so we just took what we could, whatever we wanted, and they ended up selling the rest of the stuff, I think.
Yeah.
So one night, my phone was charging in the kitchen because reasons, I don't know. It was just that's where the power was. I plugged in my phone charger and everything. The phone was charging, and so my mom ends up coming to the bathroom, which was literally it was adjacent to the kitchen. So it's like a little hallway, and then you get the bathroom. So my mom was coming to the bathroom, and I'm standing by my phone, and I'm like checking how full it's charged. And the next moment, there was these lights in the kitchen. No, and they were so bright. That whole kitchen lit up. And my mother saw this.
Yeah.
She saw this with me. So it wasn't me just pretending I saw something. Yeah. Something was definitely in the kitchen with us. And it was a bunch of lights just lighting up the whole kitchen. And my mom freaked out, I freaked out, and we just ran. We just ran to their room. I ended up sleeping in their room that night as well. And this is like I was like 22 when this happened.
Yeah.
It scared the shit out of me. It scared the shit out of my mom. My dad has no idea what happened.
He's chill.
So, no, like, during the night, like, when we needed to go to the bathroom, we all went to the bathroom just to be safe.
Yeah.
Because, it's not to say something would necessarily hurt you, but it's just so that you're not the only one seeing it happen.
Yeah.
It makes you more comfortable.
Yeah.
Awful fucking scary experience, I think.
That is.
Yeah, but like I said, her neighbors after she moved away, they mentioned that sometimes the porch light goes on, and the things there's no day-night switch on the stuff.
Yeah.
You have to be inside the house to put it on.
Ugh.
And yeah.
But
so
someone bought it afterwards.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I can't tell you. Yeah. So. And most of the lights, like the bathroom light, goes on and stuff like that, and you can see it through the windows.
Yeah.
You can see the lights are on.
Yeah.
But there's no one there.
Yeah.
It's been empty for months.
Yeah.
And so the next day, the neighbor goes to go turn the lights off. Whatever, the lights were never on. And the scariest part of all of this to me is most of the lights were pull switches.
Oh God, no.
So you actually had to really pull down the thing to turn that light on. Yeah.
That is scary.
Very scary.
That is.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Anyway.
It's like I'd say something similar happened at my grand's house. When my grandfather was still alive, he used to raise pigeons. So they had this house. It's quite a nice house. A nice big spacious garden, everything. Obviously, we can have these bird cages as well, for pigeons. And I remember like night he'd be like, "Come look, there's some glowworms," and
cool.
you know.
Yeah.
But outside when it get like dark, you're like, you don't go near the pigeon section.
Yeah.
You fucking hear those pigeons freaking out over things, and you're
Yeah.
like, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was like very little.
Mm.
Then when I was 10, my grandfather died of cancer,
Ah.
and my grandma's like, well, she can't keep the house. She's gonna sell it.
Yeah.
So the thing is as well. Before that, I would spend a lot of weekends. I would go and sleep over there.
Yeah.
And I'd kind of like sleep, get like a little sleeping bag next to their bed and just sleep there.
Oh yeah.
Night was not even night, like just the day. Sometimes you'd see shadows.
Yeah.
And I was like, did I see that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's always like someone like I was terrified of like the hallway kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm not comfortable.
Mm.
I'd run like, okay, Grand's not here, run.
Yeah.
Grandfather's like, run. Eventually I just spent time with my uncle.
Yeah.
Just watching Mr. Bean or something.
Of course.
So it was just like us like that. So then when my grandfather did die and my grandma was like, okay, she's gonna sell the place. Then there was this guy who was like, I'm gonna renovate the house, I'm gonna make it look nice for reselling and everything.
Yeah.
He kind of like I want to say he destroyed it.
Mm.
He just took away everything that's sentimental about this place.
So, okay, that's awful.
Yeah. And I remember we had to go back, for some reason we had to go back there and just, he was like showing around, like, oh, I've done this. You could pick up the house was not happy.
Yeah.
You just get this heavy feeling. I was like freaking out when I'm like, not only is like, I don't recognize this place anymore, but it's like, something's not happy.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. It kind of feels like right after my grandmother also left the house, it was not okay anymore.
Yeah.
There. You can feel a heavy presence.
Yeah. It's ugh, I don't know. So yeah, that was that. But it was like I don't know how to explain it. I spoke to her a while back. She's like, she didn't really pick up anything bad from the house or anything like that. But she also says she's like too busy. I mean, she'd wake up, she'd go feed birds, she'd go do this and everything. So, but for me, it was like, as a kid, I was like freaking out. If I go into a room, I'm like, I don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense, like, because as a kid, you're a lot more, I wouldn't say more scared of stuff, but you can sense if something's not right.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Stupid thing. Back to my grandmother's house in the vet school. So in high school, I think we were like I was maybe like grade 9, grade 8. We went there, and so there wasn't really a lot to do in the vet school because it's a little town.
Yeah.
And so we ended up taking our PC with us so we can play Call of Duty while we were there.
Yeah.
So we set up the PC and everything, and we used to game straight. We used to even play, I think, World of Warcraft and everything. So we just used to game through the night. Because, you're bored, you game from the morning to the night. You see grandma, you go eat your breakfast, your lunch, and dinner, or whatever, and then you just go play again.
Yeah.
And, but I think it was like on 3 or 4 different occasions, the PC starts glitching around 12. And it's the weirdest thing. It was so odd because I think we were playing like a survival mode type deal, where you have to survive round after round after round, like it gets more difficult, whatever. And so it kind of times you how long you've been playing, how long you survived, and all that kind of stuff, how many kills you got. And it was so weird because I remember the PC just shut down.
Yeah.
Randomly.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Just the PC. And when we started back up, it didn't start up like it normally would. It was back in the game. Like when we turned it on, it went back in the game. No, I'm not even making this up. This is weird.
Yeah.
And so I can't remember what it was, but there was a lot of threes. A lot of threes. In the, what do you call it? Like a...
The box?
No, not a box. Like where everything gets displayed, like your kills and
Oh
What do
yeah.
you call that? Like a summary or something.
Yeah.
So in the summary, there was a lot of threes. And not like 3 or 4 or 5. Like there was a lot more than that.
Okay.
But it was all repeated.
Yeah.
Which was very odd to me. And from then on, I stopped sleeping in that room. I stopped using the PC altogether.
Mhm.
I was like, I am not messing with this anymore. Because every time after 12, the PC starts freaking out. At first, I was like, okay, the PC's just maybe overheating or something.
Yeah.
Because we play quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so we left it, we left it for days. We left it for days because it was very weird.
Yeah.
It was very weird.
Yeah.
And eventually we start playing again, and the same thing happens. And yeah, so I don't know whatever that was, but something else that happened during that specific time we went is my grandmother had this porcelain baby doll that was always sleeping on the bed. Okay. And so this was during a point in time where me and my brother were very into like WWE wrestling and stuff like that. So we ended up like play fighting and stuff, and we ended up breaking this doll. And my grandmother was really angry because it probably came from like her childhood or something, and it was very important to her, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that had anything to do with what was happening in that room.
Maybe.
Because it was very weird. Also, something funny. So there was these dressers, like these big fancy dressers. They're very old, very 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 old dressers. Since my mom was little, they used these dressers. And if you open the dresser, their baby teeth was still in the dresser.
What?
Yeah. So my grandmother used to keep. It had this little compartment where their baby teeth. Yeah, super weird. Yeah, so there's just a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Happening in that house. Even after she left, even weirder stuff started happening.
Yeah. Because I know those spirits are like, hey, we're confused.
Yeah.
Where's the routine?
Especially like, and I'm not saying it was my grandfather.
Yeah.
But yeah. Which kind of brings me back to the whole hotel thing. When people die, their spirit tends to attach themselves to the place they were the happiest, I think.
Yeah.
So,
No, definitely.
you know, I'm not saying my grandfather was the happiest in that house, but part of him might have been.
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
Memories.
Yeah.
No, I never know.
Yeah, anyway. You know, anything else you wanna...
So... I was about... I think I was about 4 or something. Maybe a bit older. My parents moved into London Park. It was like between two houses. There was like this driveway. There was a house at the back. There was between these two houses. There was I want to say like a dump site.
Oh.
But it was just left empty. It was empty property. It was just rocks.
Okay.
Garbage kind of thing. So my parents bought that property.
Yeah.
And they were like, cool, we're gonna build our own home. So they started clearing half the area, and they built like a flat for us.
Okay.
So this flat, it was, I hate talking about the flat. So the flat was basically, the garage was connected into the flat, but you had to go outside to the flat.
Okay.
To the garage, and inside you got the lounge area.
Yeah.
Then the bathroom. You go upstairs and there's kind of like, I'd say my room and then my parents' room, but there's like no door separating them.
Okay.
Because I was a kid.
Yeah.
And my brother was sharing a room with my parents as well.
Yeah, because he's little.
Yeah. He's a baby.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. So this place, it was nice. It was cool and everything. My mom painted like stuff on the walls for me. But there was just something heavy in this area. I don't know what.
Yeah.
So later on, my parents were like, okay, my brother's growing up. We kind of have a bit more money. Let's build an actual house on this property.
Yeah.
So they cleared the rest of the garden. built this 2-story house, and then I think that's when freaky stuff started happening. It was just weird stuff. Even my brother, he claimed to see soldiers.
Oh my
like
God.
cut up and like gore kind of stuff, you know.
Was this like Boer War?
Yes. So my mom dug into the history because she's like, why are my children freaking out?
Yeah.
And she realized this house was built on the battleground for the Anglo-Boer War.
No way.
Yeah. So it was like part of it kind of thing.
That's scary.
So, you know, soldiers had died on this.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah. So we stayed there until I was about 15.
Wow.
Because my parents got divorced when I was 15, and that's when my brother and I left with my mom.
Yeah.
My dad stayed for like another year or two there, but I remember moving around with rooms because I stayed in one room, my brother stayed in another. Then I eventually got my parents eventually joined the flat and the house together, and they stayed in this area that was joined together, the two properties.
Yeah.
So that's like their bedroom.
Yeah.
I was like, cool, you guys stay there, but I want your old room.
Mm.
And I can't remember what happened, but they got their old room back because after my grandfather died, she came to live with us.
Okay.
So she got that joint piece between the flat and the house.
Okay.
And my parents took back the old room, and I was like, cool, can I have upstairs? No one's got that area.
Okay.
Now, upstairs was like a room where my dad used to collect. He was like South Africa's biggest Star Wars collector at that stage. So he kept all his Star Wars in that one top area room.
Yeah.
Then there was like a bit of an area where it was like a sitting area, kind of. And then there was like the office. I spent most of my time in the office because I was playing games and I was writing.
Okay.
So I don't want to say also this is a part of why as well, like it was freaky stuff because I was also starting to get into like Wicca and stuff like that. I was playing around with stuff I did not know.
Yeah.
But I think it also had a hand in it.
Definitely.
Because things started picking up in that area.
Yeah.
So not only was my brother seeing stuff, I was like, bruh, I'm losing my shit.
I feel you.
So yeah, I mean, my mom even saw. My mom saw many men. She saw like also like a soldier kind of guy, but then she also saw my father's brother, who's been dead a while.
Yeah.
So there's a whole thing with there, but I've just got lists of stuff that has happened in the house. One particular day, I remember it was just my dad, brother, and I at home, and I was like, cool, we're gonna go pick and pay or something. I was like, cool, just grab some shoes and put them on. The shoes I put on, they did have a bit of a heel, but I was probably like 2 centimeters.
Of course.
And I was like, cool, I'm gonna go downstairs now.
Okay.
Now downstairs, going downstairs, it was terrifying at night because, again, I'm the only one upstairs.
Yes.
Downstairs, there's a bit of a ledge.
Oh yeah.
And then it's empty to the kitchen.
Okay.
So you got emptiness on this side and then empty on the other side.
Yeah.
But on this ledge, my father collected and made his own shields.
Okay.
So they were all neatly stacked, displayed, and everything. Now, we're gonna go to pick and pay or whatever. I put on my shoes. I get to the first step to go down.
Yeah.
Suddenly, I realize I'm lying on the floor.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the stairs, and the shields are just crashing down around me.
Damn.
I was kind of bruised and everything.
Yeah.
I did not feel like I tripped.
Yes.
I was pushed.
Yeah.
It was weird.
That is very scary.
Yeah.
That's very scary.
I think I was about 14.
Okay, so Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, that is very scary.
Yeah. I remember this. I just remember like looking up and just seeing all these shields falling around me.
Yeah.
I could have
You
died.
could have died, yeah. I mean, you fell down a flight. Well, you got pushed down a flight of stairs. That's.
Yeah, and not only these shields are actual shields.
They're heavy and they're metal.
They're
and
sharp as well.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't remember, like, 'cause there's a bit of a thing, you can't just easily grab a shield as you're going down. So
yeah.
I don't know if my hand smacked it, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because all those shields came down crashing on me.
Damn. That is very scary.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to talk about something else, or I can carry on about the house.
Carry on with it. Yeah, go for it.
So another thing I remember, it's very freaky for me. I was playing, those murder mystery games, those big fish games.
Yeah.
They had like a Phantom of the Opera kind of game.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, I'm like in my happy place.
Of course.
It's late at night. I'm already feeling uneasy. My cat is with me, Wookie was at the time. She was just chilling in the room, but she's also... Wookie freaked me out at most times because she's just looking around the room watching stuff, and I'm like, stop it.
Oh no.
And so I'm on this, it's winter and everything, I'm cold, I'm sitting in front of this little computer, and I'm playing this game.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in the game where you have to look out onto the stage with like these little glasses things, opera glasses.
Yes.
I don't know if you've played the game.
No, but I understand what you mean.
Yeah. And there's an actual jump scare. It's the only jump scare in the game.
Okay.
And it's like the Phantom comes right at you. Yeah. I'm like, fuck this. I switch off everything. I go running to my bed. But I notice on my bed there's a dent, like someone's sitting there.
Oh no.
And I'm like, ha!
Yes.
But I sit down anyway.
Yeah.
Because I'm freaking out of the computer.
Yeah.
But I just remember this coldness as well, sitting around me. And it's like, oh, no, that was scary.
Yeah.
And it felt like I was now sitting on top of someone else.
Yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah.
I think me and my brother had a very similar experience when we lived in the house close to the graveyard as well. We were playing the latest Wolfenstein game at that point.
Yeah.
So my parents, my mom, my dad, so basically my mother worked at the hospital, and my dad used to go fetch her at night when she finishes her shift.
Yeah.
Usually around 6ish or 7.
Yeah.
And it might have even been 8. It was very late. And so I was playing Wolfenstein, and obviously it had a lot of occult stuff in it.
Yeah.
And you got this guy chanting and stuff. It was a very fun game, but it was very scary.
Yeah.
It was very scary, especially given our age at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, we were maybe... This was, I think, either primary school or big... Yeah, I think this was primary school.
Yeah.
And so... Stuff starts moving in the house.
Oh, God.
And doors start opening, stuff like that. You know, the usual.
Mm-hmm.
And we freak out.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where we run. We leave the game, we leave everything open, we just run and we go wait by the gate. By the big front gate. There was like this big driveway.
Yeah.
We ran all the way up the driveway and we just waited by the Devil's Fork gate for my parents to come. I think we sat there for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Just waiting.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, like nothing, ever happened. We didn't mention anything to anyone. I don't know why. But we just Eventually I finished the game, it was fun, all that. I kind of realized I'm not going to play this at night anymore, So, yeah.
Yeah.
Random.
Yeah. Did you, ever look up if the chanting is, real kind of thing?
I did not, but basically the stuff that they did talk about and the whole game was kind of based off of was it had to do with the Order of the Black Sun and the Royal Society type stuff, and I actually did look up that later on in life, and basically these were people, the Royal Society basically they made contact not only with occult stuff but also with extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
So basically they had the occult rooted into extraterrestrial things, so this was two worlds in one. And it's very interesting if you go read up on it, and they actually talk about it in the book The Coming Race.
Yeah.
Very interesting book, but so basically they draw power from Vril, I don't want to go into this right now because it's gonna take up like 3 or 4 hours.
Okay.
Because it's quite a big thing actually.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think the chanting might have had an impact on whatever was in the house, and whatever was there heard this, and they decided, "Whoa, I'm not part of this."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know,
What the fuck?
yeah, it just scared us.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But also something very very weird. Right after high school, I started getting into the occult. It started off with like regular hermetic magic type stuff and like stuff like that, and so I was doing like the normal little rituals in my room, cleansing crystals and stuff like that, you know, trying to speak to deities or entities, whatever you want to call it, spirits.
Yeah.
Using pendulums and stuff like that, and so one day. I was like, okay, cool. I want to bake a cake. I am hungry for cake. So I decided I'm going to make a chocolate cake. Cool, I make a chocolate cake. Cool, everything's nice. I frost the cake. Awesome. So I cut the cake up and we put it in this blue Tupperware container. So, you know, it stays crisp and fresh and nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so next day my mom comes back from hospital after work, and she brought back this little book, and basically it was a man and a wife that went to the hospital giving away this book that they wrote about their daughter that committed suicide because of her involvement in the occult.
Okay.
Right. So so basically in the kitchen my mom had this little shelf where she kept books and stuffies on.
Yeah.
So next day my mom's like, where's the book? We don't know where the book is. So she's like, why did you take the book? I'm like, I didn't take the book. So we're looking around the kitchen, we're looking for the book because it's in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And for some reason they open up the Tupperware container where the cake was in and the book was inside there. Right?
Wow.
I don't know. That's the weirdest part. I think, no, that's not even the weirdest part, okay? So the book was in there, the pages were stained with chocolate because, you know, the chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Odd. My mom starts freaking out. She's like, why did you put the book in there? Because, you know, I wasn't a Christian at this point.
Yeah.
I was an atheist, but I was involved in the occult, if you want to call it that.
You were kind of experimenting.
I was experimenting with the occult. I was getting to know what's what.
Yeah.
And, okay, so I get shouted at, why'd I do this? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I didn't do this. Why would I do this? I don't care enough to do this.
Yeah.
It has no influence on my life at all. Why would I do this?
Yeah.
It's my cake. Why would I ruin my cake?
Exactly.
Cool. Next day, book's gone again. And I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god. I am freaking out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm asking my brother, like, hey, dude.
A joke, please.
Dude, please. Open the Tupperware container and just tell me what's in there. The book was back. He didn't put it in there. No, like, my brother was little.
Yeah.
Like, he would not do this.
Yeah.
He didn't do this.
Yeah.
I didn't do this. My dad and my mother clearly wouldn't. They're very... I think they were very religious.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do something like that. It was odd. It was very odd and it was very scary. Like, I was freaking out because I was like, oh god, I fucking summoned some demon and they're like against this. But it could also be whatever was in that house already was not agreeing with what this book was about.
Exactly.
Because it was basically a mother and a father taking... they were trying to make money off of their daughter's suicide.
Yeah.
Which is awful.
Yeah.
Which is very awful.
Too many people do that.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so it didn't happen a third time. But it was definitely weird. It was definitely weird.
Did you still eat the cake?
Oh, fuck yes, I still ate the cake. It was my cake. I made that cake.
Okay.
It's good cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, it happened twice, and there was no explanation for it. And, yeah. Very weird, very weird. But I think that house close to the graveyard was where I experienced most of the weirdest things. Most of the weirdest things. Um, the room I eventually went. So when we just started living there, me and my brother shared a room.
Yeah.
Until I started high school, I think.
Okay.
And I realized, hey, I kind of want my own room. So there was 3 bedrooms. But one of the bedrooms we kind of used as a storage area. We just stored all the old stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, why can't I stay there? And my friend was like, okay, cool, you can stay there. So we ended up cleaning up nicely, setting up a desk and everything for me to draw at, PCs everywhere, PCs there, beds in there, everything's cool. And so I started hearing stuff at night. Like, stuff scratching, stuff moving, stuff on the desks moving. The computer starts turning on randomly.
No.
It was very weird. To the point where I was like, I am scared shitless.
Yeah.
Every night this happens. I was drowning it out with earphones and listening to music.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of weird stuff that actually happened. So, like, for example, when I was lying in bed, the blanket randomly it got pulled over me, like over my shoulder, like something was like, I don't know, it was tucking me in, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
But the blanket came up over me, and when it was down, it was like, here you go. Stuff touched me, like I felt a hand touching me, like a cold hand touching my my hip.
Hip, yeah.
Yeah. I was very, very scared. I heard like a little girl's voice.
Yeah.
Not constantly, but every now and then.
Yeah.
It almost sounded like she was sobbing or something. I don't know why. I don't know. I can't explain it at all. But one night, everything was so scary in that room that I was like, I went to my brother's room and I woke him up. And I was like, hey, just come sleep with me for one night.
Yeah.
And he came and he slept with me in my bed for one night, and nothing happened. Everything was fine. That whole night, everything was perfectly fine. Next day, same stuff happens. My brother wasn't with me. It's weird, because every time you try and show someone something, it's not gonna happen. It's like, you think you broke something, and when you go show someone, it's not really broken.
Yeah. It's like, hey, this machine's, it's messed up.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I just switched it on.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of weird stuff ended up happening, and I can't explain it.